Yo guys, what is going on? It is Invin here, and today what I am bringing to you guys is the best Lost Ark settings. Of course, with the launch for EU, NA and the Western version just gone ahead for the head start, and the upcoming free-to-play launch, I thought I'd bring you guys a video on the most optimal settings, and also go through a few things with you all that you might not have known because the game doesn't show you these exact things. Now, before we jump in fully to today's video, if you are new to the channel and you want to see more Lost Ark content from myself, please do drop a subscribe down below to the channel. There's about 80% of the people that watch my videos that aren't subscribed, so if you could help me out by subscribing, it'd be much appreciated. It's completely free, and you can always unsubscribe later should you wish to do so. Without further ado, let's jump into this one. First of all, I wanted to cover some UI almost hacks or kind of UI cleanup systems where this game kind of offers but doesn't necessarily show you off the rip, and these are actually really useful for a number of situations. The first one here is going to be when you press tab to bring up the map. Obviously that's the first point. If you didn't know that, you can bring the mini map here up to a large view of the area map. The game does tell you that one, however, so you should know that. What you can do with that is, however, hold down the scroll wheel on the middle mouse button here, and you're actually able to then move this map to wherever you want it. So you can put it in the top left, bottom left, whatever you want to do, shuffle it around a little bit, and in some of the bigger areas you might only be able to see some of the screen once you go to certain areas, so you can just scroll this up and down as you want to be able to make this more clear for yourself. And obviously some areas where the background is a little bit easier to read, maybe on this green here, you can see it a little bit easier, so you can throw it down there or bring it to the middle, wherever you want to do. Now with this as well, something else you can do is hold down left, alt and X to toggle parts of your UI away. So as you can see, there is 3 gradual toggles, and the third one being a completely clear screen except from obviously your character, and then back again to the full one. So you'll see the first things to go are the minimap and most of the top bar. Then the second one, you'll get rid of all of the chat, all of the bars around the side, and just keep your hotbar. This one is particularly useful for PvP and for some of the high-leveled areas where you're going to be taking in 4 or even 8 players into these raids. This could be useful so you can actually see what's going on a little bit better. And then the third one, like I said, there takes you fully away. Now, the third and final thing I want to cover here on UI is, of course, the mouse cursor. And if you hold the left control button and use your scroll wheel, you will see my mouse cursor actually changes style or color every time I do that. So there's the main default cursor, and then they change to a kind of default diamond cursor style here, and they just change color: black, green, pink, yellow or orange or gold, blue, and then back to the red kind of diamond with a little jewel in the middle type cursor. So this can be really good for different changing environments within the game, and some of these are easier to see in different coloured areas. So again, feel free to use that whenever you should need to. Now, rolling into the settings themselves, you press escape to bring up the character menu, and from there you will click on the settings button at the bottom to be able to see your game settings. Now obviously, as well as the fairly obvious stuff like the DirectX 11. If you want to be on that, you can switch to 9 if not. Making sure your screen resolution's correct, and obviously all of your settings and effects there are as you want them. There is settings such as your motion blur, which obviously for some people you prefer this off. You do have to restart your game though when doing this, so if you're like me on the first playthrough, I've unticked it for next time I load up, but for now I'm bearing with it. If you're someone who really doesn't like it, turn it off, restart the game. Should be able to get back in on most servers by now, but if there's a queue still, bear that in mind. There is also some other stuff like the distortion effect here, which adds a distorting effect when an object moves, giving a 3-dimensional and lively feeling. You can turn this off again, and also you can increase or decrease the HUD size as well. With the audio, obviously you've got all of the normal levels, but one thing to really importantly touch on is your voice chat options, and of course your mic volume, speaker volume, but more importantly, your voice input. Now mine was set to always on by default, and I would imagine most people's is the same. I do believe that this is just in the party, but if you are going to be partying up, you're wondering where extra sound is coming from, change this over to push to talk. You can actually then look at this in your gameplay hotkeys, and you'll be able to change the button for that as well. And also then you see voice chat HUD opacity, which you can change in there as well. Now, the third one down here is going to be your accessibility. Again, the default, you can change all of those cursors manually if you want to select a certain one in there. And you can also change the size of these, which just makes them slightly larger or whatever you want it to be there. And then finally, you can also change the colorblind assist, colorblind filter, and photo sensitivity mode. You can turn on if you want to do that, if you're someone that benefits from it. The fourth tab down here on the left then is going to be the community. This is really important because a lot of players will want to change the different chats and of course the opacity, size and such of that, which you can do here. You can increase the font size, you can change the colors, and you can always see the TTS channel should you want that on as well. Macro text, of course, if you want to set those up for certain different things, you can actually put those in. You know, you can put like shortcuts to type out messages if it's something that you want to type a lot of. Also, you know, for pings, smart pings, you can set those up too. And then notifications and requests. This is a big one. A lot of people want to turn on and off friend requests, guildmate onlines, friend onlines, guildmate offlines, friend offlines. And then also you've got your decline trades, decline guild invites, etc, etc, etc. You can turn all of those off in this menu, and that is something which is good to utilize from the get-go. Then if we look into the gameplay options, you'll see here, this is a really important one, controls and display. With this, what you'll be able to do is show damage values, show heal values, show status messages. You'll also be able to change up your HP bar. So by default, your player HP bar is off because it is obviously down here in the bottom middle, but you can put this above your head should that make it easier for you. And what you can also do is turn off different HP bars for other targets should you want to as well. Also with this, what you can do is change your show combat / pet, and this is for all targets, combat outline, combat skill ID, display others as pets, and display my pets. UI, loot names is always shown by default, but again, you can change that. You can change your AFK timer, so this will say when you're AFK above your head or not. You can change the timer on that, up to 30 or 60 minutes. You can show your ping, you can show all these other different things here, so do have a flick through what you'd like to do basically for your UI utilization. And then also the show tutorial here, if you've played the game before or you're on a second, third character, you can tick this one off. You can display the time in AM plus PM format if you would like to. Makes it easier for yourself. Show low HP on the screen and auto move on. You can change this from the direction the character faces to towards the cursor, which can be very useful for a little bit sort of smoother auto run features, but it's entirely up to you there. Now as well, your keyboard layout, if you've picked the wrong one for whatever reason, you can change it here. Obviously, I'm sticking with QWERTY. There also is cursor aim combat skills, skill screen shake, skip dungeon cutscenes, which is a clickable box, so if you do want to do that, make sure you tick that one on. Then you can also see some extra settings here on your controls and display where you've got your notification threshold. You've got mark low tier gear. If unchecked, gear of a lower tier than you equipped will not be marked. And mark lower effect gear. If unchecked, gear items of the same or lower skill tree bonuses than you have equipped will not be marked. Note that higher tier items will still be marked regardless of this setting. So you can tick those on if you would like to see everything marked, which could be a good idea, especially later on when you're trying to get stuff where you can, you know, use parts of it for leveling up your gear once you get to end game. But I'll let you guys decide that for yourselves once you reach that stage. Now, the final things on this page is, of course, your keyboard. So you can change your cursor speed and cursor acceleration should you wish it to do so, if they're too fast or too slow. And finally, mouse and gamepad settings. Cursor control method is drag and drop by default, but you can also switch it to pickup, which allows you to click on the target once and then click the desired location to drop the target there. So instead of dragging it across, you just click and click. So it's up to you again which you want to do there, but there's the options. Also, you can see all the options for name tags for your guildmates, for players, for party members, raid names, and then NPCs and other players as well, so you can switch some of those on or off depending on how your game settings and performance is doing. And then finally here we can set up hotkeys. Again, this is all your basic controls, sailing, skills, items, menu, other, and macro text. All of these are customizable, and again, if you're going to use the gamepad, it's exactly the same, so you can go through those and change each individual one to be exactly as you would like it to be. So that is just a quick run through of the settings here in Lost Ark, and hopefully I've pointed out some useful things, especially with the UI, that the game doesn't necessarily tell you. Pointed out some of the more important things there for you to kind of click into, and maybe, hopefully, highlighted some areas that you might have been wondering about before watching today's video. If the video has helped you out and you found this useful, please do drop a like on today's video. And like I said, if you do want to see more Lost Ark content, make sure you drop in and subscribe down below, as I will be dropping tons of content for this game, as I'm very excited to be covering it now that it is finally out. Other than that, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you again tomorrow with a brand new upload. Take care, guys, and peace.